the other day I mentioned covert narcissists, right? So you might be looking for this term. You might want to know, what is a covert narcissist? So a covert narcissist is sometimes referred to as a vulnerable narcissist. It's a more subtle version of the typical grandiose narcissist, right? A covert narcissist is more introverted, and therefore it can be a little bit easier to fall victim to some of their passive aggressive tactics. It's important to remember that narcissists typically develop from childhood trauma or abuse. So instead of thinking that they're all evil, please try to have compassion. By compassion, I mean understanding why they are the way that they are, but taking off and running if you're thinking about jumping into a relationship with one, or if you are in a relationship with one. The truth is, whether a narcissist or a covert narcissist, the fact is that they still lack empathy and they're super sensitive to any form of criticism that comes their way. So it's really best to just distance yourself from these individuals, especially in the dating world. So let's dive into some signs and traits of a covert narcissist so you can determine maybe if you are in a relationship with one or maybe you know one, and you want to avoid getting in a relationship, right? So first, what are the traits of a covert narcissist? They use manipulation tactics. They have a sense of entitlement. They have unexplained outbursts of anger. Very self-absorbed. They have a grandiose sense of self, but it's not outwardly shown, at least not at first. You'll see it more subtle, right? And then they're big on projecting and blaming. They have usually some attention-seeking behavior. They cannot take criticism. They come off maybe as shy or withdrawn or like the strong silent type. They're very insecure. Sometimes they just appear to be stressed all the time. They put themselves down before you can. They like to play the victim. Anxiety and depression usually are challenging for them. All of their relationships appear to be superficial, or they are only there to benefit them. They have a lot of paranoia. Some not everyone, but some of them will have a lot of paranoia. They seek out empaths, right? So because empaths, we're so, we want to fix everybody. We feel their emotions and stuff. They seek us out because they think that we're going to fix their whatever hole they have. Some of them, they can't seem to hold a job for very long. They're job hoppers, right? And sometimes they just cannot see things from anyone else's point of view, just blinders. It's my way, highway. Only I can't see nothing different. You're wrong. Those kind of people. Now, how to spot one, right? Okay, so they will be overtly critical, right? But in a passive-aggressive way. So a covert narc uses passive-aggressive tactics. A big passive-aggressive tactic they like to use in relationships would be the backhanded compliment. So what sounds like a compliment will actually be an insult to you. For example, they may say things like, "You look skinnier in that dress." So does that imply that I look fat in everything else? Or maybe you made them some dinner, right? And they say, "Wow, this actually tastes good." So you're implying that my dinner usually sucks, So things like that. Next, you want to look for a lack of empathy, right? So one of the top signs of a covert narc is that they will lack empathy. They're not interested in anything but having their own needs met, and they do not care who they run over in the process. So if you're in a relationship with someone who is demanding that you take care of their needs, but they can't see that it's hard on you to keep up, then they may be a covert narcissist. Okay, next, they're very skilled at gaslighting. Gaslighting is the number one sign and tactic of a narcissist, right? As this is their favorite weapon. Also, people who maybe you're trauma bonded to, they use gaslighting as well. But covert narcissists use gaslighting to manipulate you into doubting your own sanity. This gives them a sense of control over you. So typically, gaslighting can sound like, "No, you'll remember that wrong. I didn't say that. You must be losing your mind. You need to find a psychiatrist because it did not happen." Or if you drink, they're always going to say, "Well, you were drunk. You were definitely drunk and you're remembering that wrong. That didn't happen. Maybe you should cut back on your drinking." To the point that you may actually start to question your own memory after a while due to this narcissistic abuse. Next, they will guilt trip you. Always trying to guilt trip, okay? Next, they're overly concerned with their public image and their mask, right? They're really concerned with their image. This is like the people who have an imaginary audience, like we had in high school, we all had that. But most everybody else grows out of that imaginary audience, right? But these people, they still think like that. Like, everybody's looking at me. Everybody's paying attention to me. You cannot wear that when we go out in public. They'll think I'm with, like, some weird woman because she's wearing that. People really don't care, but they think they do, right? So they will be so concerned about this image. Next, they play the victim. Like I said, they love to play the victim. This is how they will secretly get the attention that they crave without being overt, like another type of narcissist, right? So people automatically respond with care and compassion to victims. So after a while, you'll finally discover that they're most definitely not the victim. You are. But let's assume you stand up to a covert narcissist and some of their awful behavior. They will definitely turn it around and maybe even start crying to try to get you to feel sorry for them. They're pretty good at it. And next, they exploit and use their children as pawns. So watch out for that. So if you're dealing with a covert narc, you could be also dealing with codependency, right? If you have codependency and you want some help to break free, you can grab my 5-day vibe shift challenge. I'll put the link in the description. And it will give you some tools that you can use to start breaking out of codependency now and start living your life more independent.